Welcome viewers to this channel. Today we are looking at possible JAMB Economics Questions 2026. Please go along with me. Marginal cost is the lowest cost of production goods, the cost of production of the most efficient firm in an industry, the cost of production of the most inefficient firm in an industry, the cost of production of the last extra units of goods produced by a firm. When we say marginal cost, we are talking about what you spent on extra units produced. So the correct answer here is option D, the cost of the extra units produced by a firm. Okay, let's see the next question. The price mechanism. Now, another word for price mechanism is price system. And when you see this, particularly we make reference to the capitalist economic system. All right? And most of the time, we are referring to the interactions between the demand and supply forces, the invisible forces operating in the market, okay, to determine the equilibrium price. All right? So the price mechanism, A, regulates supply and demand, B, ratios the consumers, C, rewards the producers, D, allocates scarce resources, E, does all of the above, where particularly it regulates supply and demand. All right, A. In a free market economy, the rationing of scarce goods is done principally by, okay, we have the government, the business organizations, the price mechanism, the consumer. D. Now, here I just explained that earlier, talking about this. All right, the price mechanism. The price in a free market economy, that's capitalist economy. The price mechanism. Let's see the next question. Scale of preference shows incomes of consumers in order of size, utilities enjoyed by consumers, opportunity cost of goods consumed, consumers want in order of priority. Of course, scale of preference as part of the scope of economics talks about a table that shows the list of human wants in order of priority or how important they are to the consumer. So the correct answer here is option D. Consumers want in order of priority. There's unemployment of resources when production is A, within the production possibility curve, outside the PPC, along the PPC, adequate to meet market demand. It is when it is outside the PPC. Assuming this is our PPC, so whatever is here is underemployed. The resources here is underemployed. Okay? That is outside the production possibility curve. B. A major characteristic of natural resources is they. What is the natural resources? We are talking about resources given by nature. For instance, among the factors of production, we have land as a factor, as a natural gift of nature. Okay? So, what's the major characteristic of natural resources? A. They are unlimited in supply. They have high cost of production. They are free gift of nature. They do not command any price. The answer here is what? They are free gift of nature. As we check the next question, a major disadvantage of capitalist economy. Remember, capitalist economy has to do with a system where private individuals control the means of production, distribution, exchange of goods and services. So let's see which of these is a disadvantage. Remember, when the private are in charge, their major aim is profit making and profit maximization. As a render service, they maximize their profits, and such profits are made at all expense. okay, because their business has to survive. A, leads to low production of goods and services. B, requires large number of officials to operate. C, consider individual consumer satisfaction. D, worsen income inequality among the citizens. Remember, here we are talking about disadvantages, a problem in a capitalist system. The answer is what? Income inequality among citizens. You notice that in a capitalist world, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. They get more and more. Okay? The next question. The mining sector of an economy contributes 60% to the GDP. And if the GDP is $540, what is the contribution of the mining sector? We just get that by 60 over 100, that's 60% times 540 over 1. So we have this and this. When you multiply 60 by 54 divided by, okay, this also goes. So what we have is just 6 times 54. Okay, 54, 6. So we have 6 times 4, that's 24. We have 2. 6 times 10, that's 5. That is 30 plus 2, that's 32. So we have 324. Correct answer is C. The increase in demand for a commodity may lead to the decrease in the demand for another if both are. When you demand for one commodity, okay, and the other commodity decrease, commodity A increase, while commodity B decrease. What type of demand is that kind of commodity? Are they complementary? If they are complementary, it means they go together. In other words, as A is increasing, B is assumed to also what? Increase if they are complementary because they are joint demand. If they are of the same quality, that means they are alternates. If you buy this, you may not be able to buy the other one. If they are composite means they are jointly, they are added together to make up your satisfaction. But if they are competitive, which is okay, which is more or less superseding that from B, that competitive means whatever this one can satisfy, the other one can also satisfy it. Talking about Milo and Bonvita. Okay, so if you are consuming more of Milo, commodity A, of course you consume less of Bonvita, commodity B. So the correct answer there is competitive demand. Competitive demand. The demand curve for goods of ostentatious is usually, when we say ostentatious are goods that more are purchased at higher price. In other words, the higher the price, the greater the demand. Why? Because consumers believe that the more expensive that product is, the more quality it has. I talk about gold, silver, and some of those stuff, jewelries, right? They're ostentatious. People buy more of them at higher price because they believe that the higher the price, the more value it has. So when you look at the curve, the demand curve would be what? Horizontal. In other words, the price doesn't change the demand for it. In fact, the higher the price, the more they buy. Unlike a normal demand curve that is sloping downward. Okay, so it's horizontal D. Now, the PN, from this diagram, PN equals average revenue, which means the average revenue is PN. This is PN, or the marginal revenue, okay, because they met at the point here. So what, can I see the remaining part of the question? Let's see, okay. An imperfect competitive market, a monopoly market, a perfect competitive market, a monopolistic market. It's a perfect market because the marginal revenue at a point equals to what? The average revenue curve. Okay, they met like an equilibrium. So a perfectly competitive firm. All right. Now, this is another calculation. If the quantity demanded of a commodity increases from 20 to 30, when there is an increase in price from $4 to $5, The elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand is calculated with this formula. It's a change in quantity demanded over change in price multiplied by the original price and what? The original quantity. Okay? So let's do it together. We have the changes in the units demanded. That's 30 minus 20. Changes in price, that is 5 minus 4 times the old price was what? $4. And the old quantity was what? 20 units. By so doing, 30 minus 20 give us what? 10 over 5 minus 4, that's 1 times 4 over 20. Okay? So 10 times 4 is 40, and 1 times 20 is 20. So this goes. What do you have? You have 4. That is 2 here, 1, 2 here, 2. The answer is 2. That is C. Option C is the correct answer. Option C, 2. So the elasticity of demand is 2, which means it's elastic. All right? The supply curve of a locally produced good may shift to the right if this is a supply curve. Assuming this is the price and supply curve is this. Let me remind you, in one of our videos we did earlier, we explained details, the differences between shift in supply, shift in demand, and movement along supply curve or movement along demand curve. We did a detailed explanation on this. Remember, I made 2 major points. I said, if it's movement along the curve, the major cause of that movement is the change in the price of the commodity itself will affect the changes in either the supply or the demand. But when we talk about shift is talking about a total shift from the original curve either to the right or to the left, even when the price is constant. So this shift is brought about by other factors, not the price of the product, because the price is constant. Okay? So for locally produced goods, when the shift is to the right, which means the supply increases, even though when the price is not increased. Remember, that's already against the law of supply. The law of supply says that the higher the price, the greater the quantity supply. But now the price is constant, the more state-based supply. So what factor could be responsible for this? A, there's an increase in taxes on input, government increases subsidy, rural urban migration is encouraged, the price of commodity increases. The most correct answer here is B. When government increases subsidies for the producers or the suppliers, it will cushion the effect of their cost of production. By so doing, they will encourage to supply more to the market. And government is targeting having those products available to satisfy the larger community, the consumers. So B was the answer. In a perfectly elastic supply, the supply curve is horizontal. I just mentioned that earlier when we are talking about a particular product. Okay, so the perfect elastic supply, the supply curve is horizontal. Horizontal in this order. Horizontal. All right? Horizontal. Oh, we have another diagram here for calculation. Let's see. A pie chart is given to us, and in the pie chart we have education, we have health, we have agriculture, and of course we have government. Okay, so a country's, I hope you're enjoying this class. Please subscribe to this channel to get more of this. A country's budget allocation to various sectors of the economy is shown in the pie chart above. You can see the pie chart there. So use it to answer this question. If the budget of the country was $7,200, how much is allocated to education? Let's see the pie chart and see what is. Education has 120 degrees. Okay? If education is 120 degrees, that's 120 over 360 times the total budget of the country, which is what? $7,200. Okay? So, how do we arrive at our answers? This goes. All right? So, we have, maybe we can 12 times 7,200 over 36. Anyway, we can also do this way. 12 can go here, 1. So we have 12 can go here, 3. So what do we have? We have 7,200 over what? Over 3. So 3 here, 1. 3 in 7 is 2. We carry 1 to here, to 12. So 3 in 12 is 4. And we have a 0 here, brought So the answer is what? 2,400. Okay? So that is option A. 2,400, option A. That is the budget of the sector. Oh, we have another pie chart. Oh, this time around, JAMB is bringing more pie chart on this particular question. Okay, we have education, health, government. Okay, all right. I think it's still the same question, the same pie chart, but different question. Let's see what they're asking now, the same pie chart. They say, what is the ratio of expenditure on health to agriculture if the year's budget is 7:2? Can we see the pie chart? Okay. Health and what? And agriculture. Okay. So let's first of all look at health. Health is 60 degrees. That is 60 over 360 times 7,200. Okay. Over 1. So we have what? This goes and this goes. Right? We have 6 here. Yes. 6 and 36. 6. So what do we have? We have 7,200 over 6. 6 here, 1. 6 in 7, 1. 6 in 12, 2. So what do we have? We have 1,200 for health. Okay? Now let's see agriculture. Agriculture is 80 over 360 times 7,200. We'll go the same way. Okay? This 0 goes. All right? So what do we have here now? How many 8s can go into this? Let's see. We have 2 here, 4. 2 here, 18. Okay? 2 again can go. We have 2. 2 here can go, 9. So what do we have now? We have 2 times 7,200 over 9. Okay? So what do we have here now? We have 14,400. I hope I'm correct. Okay? Divided by 9. If we go about this, I think this should give us 9 here. This 1. 9 in 54. 9 in 54 is 6. Okay? This 0 goes. This 0 goes. So we have, for health, 1,200. And we have for agriculture 1,600. Okay, so this 0 goes. Okay, we have 12 over 16. So if 4 goes there, we have 3. If goes there, we have 4. So we should have ratio 3 to 4. Very well, we got it. Ratio 3 to 4. That is option B. A consumer of a single commodity is in equilibrium when single commodity. Okay, it can equate its demand with price, equate marginal utility with price, it can equate marginal utility to total utility. Its marginal utility is 0. I think the best option here should be C, when the MR equals what? Total utility. The marginal is the extra enjoyment, the additional enjoyment, and the total enjoyment. All right, option C for now, for this question. Let's go. If the government imposes a minimum price on a commodity, this is what we call price floor. The minimum price is talking about price floor. When there's a price floor, government gave the minimum price for a commodity, what will happen? That the market surplus occurs, the market will be cleared in the short run, excess demand occurs, government regulation is no longer needed. If government imposes minimum price, right, that minimum price should be a little above equilibrium price. So that whatever happens within the forces in the market, if any drop at all, you drop on equilibrium price. Should be a little above equilibrium price. So it will encourage, if the price is above equilibrium price, the supplier will be encouraged to bring more to the markets. So let's see what happens. Short run, no. Excess demand occurs, not necessary. Okay, market, that will be market surplus. That will make market surplus because the supplier will supply more. Because market price floor is, most of the time when government places it, is a little above equilibrium price. So the supplier encouraged to supply more to the market. So there will be market surplus at least at the short run. Okay? Eventually, demand will increase, but at least for the short run, there will be market surplus. That's A. A minimum price legislation is also called, this is what I just answered now. That's price floor. Price floor or price floor. I think minimum price floor. Okay? Just like the question we just answered in number 18 there. Assuming there's no minimum there. If you say price legislation, the answer is what? Price control. But with the one minimum, the lowest floor is talking about price floor. That is B. Option B. I just explained that in the previous question. All right? Which of the following factors is not a cause of diminishing returns? It's not a cause of diminishing returns. Remember, diminishing returns means as more and more of variables being added to a particular factor of production, of course, we expect that there will be a setting of diminishing returns. So which one is not affected by diminishing return? Increase in variables, as you're adding more and more, of course, we expect that there may be a diminishing return on the fixed factor. Land fragmentation, that is when land are divided, into different fragments. Use one for maize, use the other one for this, the other one for what have you. The more you do that, the more the land, the nutrient is going away. Remember, we are saying that which one is not going to cause diminishing return. So all of them are going to cause it except one. So A will cause it because the more variable you add into a fixed factor, the less you are going to get eventually. The more you fragment the land, the more the nutrient is going. Constant technology, using the same thing over and over again, you may not be able to meet up with the larger productivity. But when there's technological innovations, new ideas, there's possibility of enjoying a greater productivity, a greater production by technological advancement. Okay? So the correct answer here is option D, technological advancement, innovation. All right? Let's see the next one. I hope you're enjoying this class. Please subscribe to the channel so that I can get more of this. In manufacturing, division of labor may be hindered by excessive demand for, division of labor, different persons undertaking different roles, right, in the process or in the line of production. Okay? Excess demand for the products, excess supply of labor, increase in the export of goods has nothing to do with this. Okay? So division of labor is hampered or hindered by low level of technology. When there's high level of technology, then you can be able to divide your labor to different sections, undertaken either by different machines or by different persons. All right? Excess labor does not affect this because they have more people, more hands to use it. It should be limited in labor. So the correct answer here is low level of technology. B, option B. The production cost that varies inversely with output is the marginal cost. We mentioned that, I think, number 1, number 2 question before. As the output increases, what happens? The marginal cost. Remember, marginal cost has to do with what? The extra additional cost added to a particular product that has been added. So marginal cost, option B. All right? They are can I see? They say inverse. Okay, inverse, opposite. Opposite, not directly proportional. Unlike total cost, directly proportional, but this one is inverse. Okay, marginal cost. Let's see the next one. A firm that closes down will still incur when a firm closes down, right? Stop operation. What other costs can it still be incurring even at close down? Variable costs, fixed costs, total costs, marginal costs. These are fixed costs, particularly on assets that are fixed. Okay, if the land are higher, the firm where the buildings, those are spending, though it may not be paying for labor, it may not be paying for raw materials, but those fixed costs, they're still incurring some cost on them, at least at the short run. So the answer is B, fixed costs. Let's see the next one now. And the question. The sufficient condition for a firm to be in equilibrium is that the first, firm A must show that it is profitable. B, marginal cost must be equal to average revenue. C, marginal cost is above the average revenue curve. Marginal cost cuts the marginal revenue curve from the below. I've mentioned marginal several. What is the marginal cost? The extra cost spent for one additional unit produced. A marginal revenue, the extra income made for one additional, product made. Okay, so you expect that the company break even when MC equals to what? MR. That's marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. Okay, but now it's talking about for it to be in equilibrium. Yes, the cost must be lower than the revenue. In other words, MC must be less than what? MR. Alternatively, MR must be greater than what? MC. So in that case, the MC is expectedly to cut the MR at the tail end of the MC to show that the MR is greater than what? MC. So the correct answer there is D. D. All right? Cooperative societies form mainly. Why do you form cooperative societies? Maybe some of you are one of them, those of you that are viewing at home. A. Assist producers to maximize their profit. Encourage thrift and credit among members. Promote and maintain the welfare of members. Break the monopolies of private companies. D is a distraction to this. B, A is not correct because they are not about maximizing profit. Basically, they are about the welfare of their members. The major reason why most of the cooperative society are formed is to see to the welfare of their members. And the correct answer there is C, option C. As we look at the next question, a disadvantage of joint stock company, what's the name for joint stock company? Is limited liability company, PLC, limited liability company. Okay, so what's a major disadvantage of this joint stock company? A, unlimited liability. B, limited liability. Already the name says limited liability, so it can be A, limited liability. That's another name for joint stock company, but that's not the question. The question is talking about disadvantage of it. So A and B is already nullified. C, lack of continuity when a shareholder dies. D, limited control in management by shareholders. Okay, now remember that joint stock company is not owned by just one person. Okay, so the fact that a shareholder dies has no effect on this company. The correct answer is D. How? Because this limited company, more than often, are controlled by board of management. And most of the time, this management are not the owners. They are different from the shareholders. The shareholders, they employ people to manage the business for themselves, for them. So in that case, they are far away. The shareholders, they have limited control on their own business. Why? They have already employed management to manage the business on their behalf. So the most correct answer here is option D. D. The middleman is responsible for, who are the middlemen? This is talking about the channel of distribution. In the channel of distribution in economy, we have the producer, we have the wholesaler, we have the retailer, and finally you have the consumer. The goods is moving from the producer to the final user, who are the consumer. So these two guys are here are called the middlemen, the wholesalers and the retailers. You know, the wholesaler is the one that buys box. They buy box from the producer, they put in warehouse stock, and then they sell, okay, in a little to what they call retailer. What retailer will sell finally to the consumer, okay, according to what they need. So who are the middlemen responsible for what? Providing research facility. How come? B, purchasing raw materials. C, designing the products. And D, breaking the bulk. Well, what I just put on the board now, on the screen, is breaking the bulk. The correct option there is option D. They break the box from the producer so as to break it down to get to the consumer. Let's see. A major function of the retailer is to, you can see, this is similar to the one we just answered. I just explained retailer to you. So what does a retailer do? A retailer is part of the middleman, okay? Grant credit to the wholesaler outcome. Or most of the time, even the opposite happen. Most of the time, the retailer, they used to buy on credit from the wholesaler. B, break bulk and sell products in small units, okay? Reduce cost of distribution. How? They are even increasing it. Why? Because they add their own profits on whatever they buy from wholesaler. So they're increasing the cost. D, generate demand for products through advertisement. The most correct answer here is break bulk and sell products in smaller units. To who? To the final consumers. Okay. The next question is saying, a positive effect of a rapid population increase is, you know, rapid population could be negative, could also be positive. So we're looking at the positive impact of this. The positive impact of population increase. An excessive budget deficit, a reduction in standard of living, a wider market for goods and services, a higher dependency ratio. If you are talking about the negative aspect, then you can say this is correct because there will be more dependency ratio, okay? If you are talking about negative, it can also be correct, excessive budget, because to cater for this more population. But we are talking about the positive side of having more people. The implication is, answer is what? Is C. There will be a wider market. You have market to sell more goods. That's why many countries like to come to Nigeria, because we have big population, huge population, and whatever enter this country, we are consumer nation. They sell and sell and sell and sell. So there's a wider market for goods and services. That's a positive effect of a rapid population increase or growth. Let's see the next one within our time. Which of the following factors may not affect efficiency of labor? In other words, all these factors will affect efficiency, how efficient a labor is, except one. When you educate and train, of course, you should know that provision of welfare services, of course, you give welfare service to laborers, they do well, okay? Race and color of workforce, how? Quality of other factors inputs. Other factor inputs, the quality of it will also enhance labor productivity, okay? So the one that is not going to affect efficiency of labor is C, race and color of workforce. This has nothing to do with how efficient a labor is. Okay, the correct answer to this question here is option C. Okay, the type of unemployment found among workers who leave their jobs in search of other jobs is termed, they already have a job, but they're leaving one job, they are going to look for another one. So they're more or less causing imbalance in the system. Is it seasonal? Is it structural? Is it frictional or cyclical? The answer is what? Frictional, because they're causing friction in the system. Frictional unemployment. Okay? The main objective of market boards is to, marketing boards were created to protect, I'm only giving you a background to the, giving a clue to the answer. Marketing boards are created to protect the producers. To protect the producers. Most of the time, Nigeria, we have marketing board for cash crops, like cocoa, like cotton, like timber, like palm produce. We used to have those, I don't know whether they say existing now, but we used to have marketing board. So as to protect these producers and encourage them to keep supplying to the market, producing and supplying to the market. Marketing board. So what's the main objective? A, accumulate revenue for government, not necessarily. B, educate farmers on pricing of cash crop. They could do that also, but that's not the main. The question is asking you for main objective. They could also do this B, okay? But the main objective, let's see, we have another option there. C, stabilize the incomes of cash crop farmers, okay? Provide warehousing facility, not necessary. A and D, not necessary. So let's see between this B and C. Educate farmers on pricing of their cash crop, that's marketing boards. Stabilize the incomes of cash. Remember I told you, marketing boards were created to protect the suppliers, the producers of this major product, particularly cash crops. So the most correct answer is stabilize their income. When you stabilize their income, it will encourage them to keep on productivity. All right? Let's see if there's still time for us to go to the next one. Now, this one, I did something like this earlier, maybe number 1 or 2 or 3 questions in this session. I drew something like this, which is PPC, production possibility curve. And I say any point that's outside the PPC is underemployed. Any factor that is outside the PPC is not fully engaged. There's inefficiency of that particular factor. Let's see what the answer the question is telling us. The point X, as you see on that screen, inside the PPC indicates what? The resources are fully utilized, the country is poor, some resources are idle, resources are not available. They are available, but they are not fully utilized. When something is not utilized, it means they have been idling away. They're idling away. So the correct option there is C. Option C. Some resources are idling, while others are fully engaged. Some are idling away. At this point, we'll come to the end of this session. If you have any question to ask, please send them to this channel. And I also advise that you keep on visiting this channel for more and more details and information on this subject. Thank you.